There is no debate topic on this planet more heated than Souls games and difficulty options. This is a more furious conversation than the black and blue dress arguments from yesteryears. This is a debate that puts even the most cutthroat to shame. Difficulty options, that's like Voldemort's name in the Souls community, and it's been a topic of discussion for many, many moons. It has once again been reignited because Lies of P's very hyped DLC just dropped Overture, and they added difficulty options. They had the standard, which was the normal difficulty that you played through, which is the highest difficulty in the new DLC called Legendary Stalker, but they added easier options if that was too intense, too extreme for you. And there are people that are very upset about it. There's a variety of reasons people give for this. The main one being that they believe that it is the antithesis for what the games are about. It ruins them by watering it down. It gets rid of the challenge, and some people believe that it lessens the achievements that they get when they beat it the right way. The only way it should be played at maximum difficulty, brutal mode, turbo style, gamer swag edition. And a lot of it kind of sounds like fucking Lou Pickles from Rugrats. Back in my day, we didn't have pussy-ass difficulty options. I had to walk 15 miles from Firelink Shrine with nothing but my dick in my hand and a dream of defeating the Bell Gargoyles. Who the hell are you? You know, you got the training wheels on. And Lies of P, with this new edition here, has once again opened this wound. I want to kind of dissect this post complaining about it, even though there's a ton. It's been a big conversation. I think this one has a lot of goofiness to it that I've seen repeated over the years that I'd like to talk about. But before doing that, I want to give you my perspective on it. I don't give a shit. I don't care if the developers want to add an easy mode to a Souls game. When I was younger and I was more of a Souls Puritan, it must be played this way and this way alone, no exceptions, or else you're going to hell. I cared more back then, but now at 30 years old, I think it is just a silly thing to care about, and it only helps bring people to the game. There's a lot of people that will never finish Lies of P on Legendary Stalker. That's the normal difficulty, the proper difficulty of the game, but they can beat it on a lower difficulty and still really enjoy it. It doesn't affect me when they add a difficulty option to these games. I will always just choose the highest difficulty. They're not my dad, they can't force me to go on easy mode, and if I get stuck on a boss for like an hour or something, banging my head against the fucking wall, I don't need to have like a Green Goblin's mask tempting me for easy mode. I'll just not do it. I'll just continue to play the game that way because it's how I like to enjoy these kind of games with that challenge. But not everyone is like that, and I think that's fine to have an option for them, as long as it doesn't take away from the normal mode, the normal difficulty, which in Lies of P's case was Legendary Stalker. As long as the game is balanced around Legendary Stalker and then the developers afterwards go back and add an easy mode, then it has no effect on me or anyone that chooses to play on that mode. There is a problem that can arise that people have pointed out that I do agree with, if instead it is balanced around the easy mode and then the Legendary Stalker mode, like the highest difficulty, is the afterthought where they then just start adding like arbitrary amounts of health to the boss or something. That's when it gets a little unfortunate because now the game is more watered down because they were too focused on the easy mode as the base mode. That I understand, and I do think that could be a legitimate concern. In Lies of P's case, that wasn't in the cards. The Legendary Stalker difficulty was tough, a lot harder than I thought it would be. The DLC was much more difficult for me than the base game, and this is after they added the difficulty modes, and it didn't feel unfair or anything. It felt just as punishing to my cheeks in a fair way. So I think they did it right, and by adding those easy modes, now other people can play that DLC as well, and it had no effect on my enjoyment of it. I just played it on the highest difficulty. It was obvious that the highest difficulty is what they focused on and balanced around. There is one other legitimate concern when it comes to this whole difficulty discussion in Souls games that I agree with, and that's when the philosophy changes, like maybe from a higher up saying like this game is too hard, make everything across the board easier. So in the case of Lies of P, if they said the game needs to be easier, add easy options as well as make Legendary Stalker more forgiving, then that would be an issue and it would make the game worse. If they changed the whole design philosophy to be make this easier so everybody can play on every difficulty mode, then I wouldn't like that. There should be like the carved out like real hard mode, because that's become part of the identity of Souls games. That is a big appeal to the genre. And if they instead say we need to just make it easier, tweak it around so that way it's really a lot more forgiving, then I think that makes it worse. Now of course that didn't happen with Lies of P, but I do understand that argument because eventually they could just say like hard mode is too hard, make it easier. Like the easy mode's not enough, we need to make sure the hard mode, the super hard mode is also pretty easy too. That would suck because again, the challenge is a big selling point to Souls games to a lot of people. It's become kind of integral to the identity of a lot of these games. Now let's take a peek at this Reddit post. Why a single difficulty is so important in games like Lies of P. Difficulty matters in games like this because of the fact that so many people who play it have trouble defeating bosses. They get killed over and over again and eventually they want to drop the difficulty. It's a human trait. It's a human logic behind games like Lies of P. We get upset, angry, and tilted that a boss is farming us and wish there was an easy mode to allow us to defeat them. The reason Lies of P was such a highly regarded game was because of the design choice to not allow an easy mode, one difficulty setting, and all bosses were balanced around it. The reason I get so upset over the decision to add an easy mode to this game is because of human nature. Before the DLC, you either had to adapt or not kill a boss. There was no easy mode. It was a true test of endurance, patience, and skill. It's important that there's one difficulty because of those reasons. It's the reason Lies of P was such a great game. Human nature by design wants the easiest path towards success with minimal struggle. We want to just cruise through an experience and get that dopamine high with minimal effort. Lies of P, before the DLC, was not a perfect example of this. A true From Software successor. You had to learn a boss's moveset to get that dopamine high. There was no easy mode, one difficulty, and a fantastic gameplay experience. I bitch and moan and complain about difficulty settings being added because I understand human nature. Redditors and LARPing as an armchair psychologist is an iconic combination up there with marinara and spaghetti. He's saying that he understands human nature, which is why he has to bitch and moan about this, because humans will naturally try and find the path with minimal resistance when it comes to their gaming. He complains and sheds his salty tears because he's just so knowledgeable on humans' nature. Their very essence, their core, their soul, he studied it. Thus he can't help but weep for those lost souls that are now being tempted by the devil with an easy mode, which they will inevitably take a bite of that forbidden fruit, lessening the experience. It's so cringe. It's so cringe. Like, this is all just your opinion, man. Like, this is why you play Souls games like Lies of P. Great. I play it for that same reason too, because the challenge is a lot of fun. The gameplay feels very rewarding, especially in something like Lies of P. But not everyone's going to want that. In fact, that might be a huge turnoff and a huge deterrent for a ton of people hearing how hard the game is. A lot of people play games just to kick back and relax. Maybe someone doesn't want that challenge, but Lies of P looks really interesting to them because the gameplay is so fucking cool, the atmosphere is great, and the story is interesting. By the way, I don't know the story at all. I am so in the dark on the lore, I couldn't tell you a fucking thing here. I couldn't spitball anything about the story. I was just so entrenched in the gameplay throughout this entire thing. I'll probably just watch a lore breakdown video on it. But a lot of people glaze the story. So there's plenty of other reasons people might want to play this game that don't involve the challenge, and that's totally fine. So an easy mode might be really appealing to them, where they can still get to enjoy the fluidity of the gameplay and the really fun game without the need to be like angry and frustrated and feel like they need to adapt and overcome for what supposed to just be a fun hobby. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And if they do want that challenge, it's not like they're forced to go to easy mode. It's just there as an option, like bumpers on a bowling alley. You're not forced to turn on those bumpers if you blow ass at bowling, but you can if you want to make it a little easier. So who cares? Like, there's no shame in them turning it to easy mode if they get stuck, so that way they can continue to enjoy the game the way they want to play it. It really sounds like he believes that by adding an easy mode, people will be able to complete this game, and it'll weaken his status as the ultimate gamer. It's going to make his achievements here, which are a huge part of his identity, being able to beat Souls games like Lies of P, it will make them feel less impactful, because now anyone can do it by just switching it to easy mode. Who cares? It's a video game. A single-player game at that. There are no stakes here at all, just personal satisfaction of completing it. It's not like a multiplayer game where you're trying to battle for a spot on an esports squad to make a living or something. The game will be played by thousands of people. The DLC will be popular, but when those people get frustrated at a boss in the new DLC, they will have the option to drop the difficulty, fundamentally weakening them as a gamer and fundamentally weakening the IP they are playing. Holy Lord, please take your nose out of your fart jar. Yikes. Fundamentally weakening them as a gamer. He will look down on you. He will spit upon you if you should switch that difficulty. And not only that, it weakens Lies of P. When you do that, you're making the IP worse by doing that somehow. This will be my final post on the DLC tonight. I'm sure the moderators will appreciate that, but please, this post is coming from someone who loved the original Lies of P game when it had one difficulty. I want the experience to be universal, not full of casuals who drop the difficulty the moment they hit a wall. Damn casuals, forcing this guy to think about an easy mode. You've got some nerve. It needs to be a universal experience, enjoyed the way that he believes it should be enjoyed. That's very powerful stuff. He would have a great future at Nintendo. It is played this way and this way alone, nothing else. It's crazy, man. Who gives a shit? Again, as long as the game is still balanced around the max difficulty and then the easy modes are just a toned down version of it, it doesn't affect you. Because the game will still be that one difficulty, at least in terms of like the balance. You don't have to turn it to Weenie Hut Jr. mode. It's not even something that ruins the shared experiences either. Because most people that are like already playing games in the genre are likely just going to play on the highest difficulty anyway. It has actually no effect on them. Again, the only concern would be if the game was catered to easy mode and thus the higher difficulty suffered from it. Then there would be something to be upset about. But in this case, that's not how it was. So it just shouldn't really matter. I don't know why he talks about how it's fundamentally weakening you as a gamer. You can play the game however you want. Who cares? It's a single player game. I don't think you need to fish for his approval, give you his stamp of like gamer cred or whatever. I just find it to be a non-issue. Who cares if someone completes the game and they have less skill than you because they did it on easy mode? Who gives a hoot? It's a single player game. I don't think adding difficulty options ruins it. In fact, I'd like to give you an argument that I think the difficulties being added here could actually be a good thing for people that enjoy the challenging, hard aspects of these games. Because if you have an easy mode and you have your like true, tough as nails, grit hard mode, well, now you no longer have to worry about something being too hard. Like in Elden Ring, you remember pre-nerf Radahn? Radahn was so strong on launch they ended up nerfing him because so many people were struggling. I never agree with nerfing a boss just because it's difficult. Unless there's something actually wrong with the boss, like a janky hitbox that's just non-functioning or it's got some kind of like actual glitch or problem with it, then fix that. But just nerfing something that's tough, I never like that. If Elden Ring had an easy mode, maybe Radahn wouldn't have been nerfed because he could just stay the same on hard mode and you could just switch it to easy mode if you're really struggling that much. You see what I mean? Now, of course, that's just purely a hypothetical. But the point is, I think having an easy option could maybe free up bandwidth from the developers to focus more on making the hard stuff really hard without needing to compromise to make it like accessible to everyone since there's only one difficulty. Now you can have it be like extremely tough on hard, and if it's too hard, people can themselves just elect to go to easy to get through it. Anyway though, I just kind of wanted to weigh in on this because all of you know Souls-like games are my favorite genre. Even though it's becoming pretty oversaturated in recent times here, I still love them, and I'm still liking most of the ones that come out too, so I just want to talk about it a bit. That's it. See ya.